Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Hope you're all doing amazing today. In this video, we're diving into the latest updates about Kelly Ripa and Mark Consuelos. You don't want to miss this. So make sure to stay tuned till the end, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. The soft glow of the studio lights danced across Kelly Ripa's face as she sat in silence, her hands trembling ever so slightly beneath the table. For more than 2 decades, she had been the heartbeat of Live, the smiling constant who greeted millions of viewers every morning. But this day was different. The air felt heavier, her laughter softer, and her eyes glistened with unspoken emotion. When the cameras rolled for what everyone knew would be her final broadcast, Kelly tried to steady her voice, tried to be the professional she had always been. But as she looked into the audience, her second family, and then into the eyes of her husband and co-host, Mark Consuelos, something inside her broke. The tears that she had been holding back began to fall, marking the end of an era and the beginning of a new chapter filled with uncertainty, love, and sacrifice. For years, Kelly Ripa had built her life around balance, juggling motherhood, marriage, and the demanding rhythm of television. Every morning, no matter how little sleep she'd gotten, she'd show up with her signature energy and quick wit. Behind the scenes, she was the glue that held Live together, the friend who checked on everyone, the mentor who encouraged the interns, the woman who never forgot a birthday or an inside joke. But life has a way of shifting our priorities, even for those who seem to have it all. When Mark Consuelos received devastating health news months earlier, Kelly's world suddenly grew smaller. The glamour, the lights, the fame, none of it mattered anymore. What mattered was him. It began quietly. She took days off, citing exhaustion. Then weeks. Fans noticed. Rumors spread. Was Kelly leaving? Was there tension on set? But those who knew her best understood that she was fighting a private battle, trying to stay strong for the man who had been her rock for more than 25 years. Kelly and Mark's love story had always felt like something out of a Hollywood script. They met on the set of All My Children in 1995. She was the vivacious young actress with electric charisma, and he was the handsome newcomer who couldn't take his eyes off her. Within a year, they eloped in Las Vegas, a spontaneous decision that marked the start of a lifelong partnership built on laughter, resilience, and unconditional devotion. Together they raised 3 children, weathered fame's storms, and managed to keep their marriage grounded in a world where relationships often crumble under the spotlight. Kelly often joked on Live that Mark was the love of her life and the reason for half her wrinkles. But behind the humor was an unshakable truth. She loved him deeply, endlessly, fiercely. So when the doctor said the words that changed everything, when routine became serious, Kelly made a decision that would surprise the world but feel completely right in her heart. On her final morning, she arrived at the studio hours before anyone else. The building was quiet, echoing memories of countless mornings spent rehearsing, laughing, and greeting the crew like old friends. She walked through the hallways, touching the framed photos on the walls, Regis, Michael, Ryan, and all the faces that had been part of her extraordinary journey. When she stepped onto the stage, she took a deep breath. The familiar set looked different that day, brighter somehow, yet bittersweet. Every detail seemed to whisper, this was home. As the show began, Kelly smiled through the ache in her chest. There were montages of her most iconic moments, her first day with Regis, the hilarious bloopers, her emotional reunion with Mark on air. The audience laughed and cried with her, applauding her every word. But it was the final segment that broke everyone's composure. Mark reached for her hand, his eyes glistening. Kelly, he began softly, you've given so much of yourself to this show, to your fans, to your friends, to this entire world. And now it's time you give something back to yourself, to us. Kelly looked at him, the man she fell in love with all those years ago, the man who now needed her more than ever. Her voice trembled as she spoke. I've spent my whole life talking to America every morning, and it's been the honor of a lifetime. But sometimes, love asks us to be quiet, to listen, and to just be there. So, this isn't goodbye. It's just a new beginning, for me, for Mark, for our family. Her words hung in the air, heavy and beautiful. The audience rose to their feet, applause thundering through the studio as Kelly stood, tears streaming down her face. She hugged her crew one by one, whispering thank yous that only they could hear. Then she turned to Mark. Let's go home, she said softly. And together, they walked offstage hand in hand, just as they had walked into each other's lives so many years before. In the days that followed, the world couldn't stop talking about her farewell. Social media flooded with tributes, fans sharing how Kelly's energy brightened their mornings, colleagues recounting her kindness behind the scenes. The headlines read, "Kelly Ripa bids emotional goodbye," and "Ripa leaves everything behind for love." But Kelly wasn't reading the headlines. She was home, sitting beside Mark on the porch of their beach house, watching the sunset paint the sky in gold and rose. For the first time in decades, there was no schedule, no rehearsals, no rush. Just the sound of the waves, the warmth of his hand in hers, and the quiet comfort of knowing she had made the right choice. "Do you miss it?" Mark asked one evening, his voice soft with concern. Kelly smiled, her eyes glistening again, not from sadness, but peace. "I miss the people," she said, "but I don't miss the rush. I think I finally get to live the life we've been dreaming about." Mark squeezed her hand. "You've always been my home, Kel. Thank you for choosing me." She leaned her head on his shoulder, whispering, "Always." Months later, Kelly occasionally appeared in interviews or shared glimpses of her quieter life on social media. Morning walks with Mark, family dinners, laughter-filled nights with their children. Her fans noticed the glow in her eyes, the serenity in her smile. She hadn't disappeared, she had simply transformed. The woman who once brightened the mornings of millions was now living her own sunrise, one filled with gratitude, love, and presence. Her farewell wasn't an ending. It was a love letter to the life she built and the man who had always stood by her side. Kelly Ripa had spent years making people smile. Now finally, it was her turn to smile, freely, deeply, and without cameras rolling. Because sometimes, the bravest thing a person can do is walk away from everything, for love. Days melted into weeks, and weeks into quiet, unhurried months. For the first time in her adult life, Kelly Ripa woke up without an alarm clock. There were no cue cards waiting on her vanity, no makeup artist tapping gently on her shoulder, no live audience expecting her signature sparkle. The mornings were slower now, filled with the smell of coffee, the sound of ocean waves, and the soft rustle of Mark turning the pages of a newspaper. At first, the stillness felt strange. For over 20 years, Kelly's identity had been woven into the rhythm of television, the daily routine of greeting America with warmth and humor. But as she adjusted to this new life, she discovered something she hadn't truly known before: peace. Mark's recovery was slow but steady. There were hospital visits, follow-ups, and sleepless nights, but through it all, Kelly was right there, his anchor, his laughter, his calm in the storm. She would sit beside him, holding his hand during treatments, reading aloud the letters and messages from fans who sent love and prayers. "You see," she'd tease with a soft grin, "you're the real star now." He'd smile weakly, eyes glinting. "You've always been my spotlight, Kel." Their love, once a beautiful partnership shaped by passion and humor, deepened into something even stronger, a quiet, soulful connection that came from facing life's hardest moments together. Stay tuned for all the updates about Kelly Ripa. We are the first to publish all the information about Kelly Ripa and Mark Consuelos, so stay with us to get all the latest updates. And stay tuned to our USA Daily Drop for all updates.